What's up, guys? It's Migs with Market Open. Want to do the midday market recap. As you can see, I'm a little bit late on the midday recap. I was trying to fight back on some of these losses I was having. Took a pretty big loss on Juno and some small ones on ACLS and ASML. So let me walk you guys through some of these shorts and as well as some of the longs. The market was kind of going sideways there for a little while, and it finally picked a side. It started going up. So CF was actually one of my short candidates for a continuation. It had a less than 5% yesterday, so it moved down less or more than 5% yesterday. So it was on my chart for a continuation play, basically. So as you can see on here, I'm actually really disappointed in the way that I traded this because I was up more than 2 to 1 on what I was risking. So I was up $300. I was risking only $100 typically. So I was up three times my risk. So, and I didn't take it. I didn't take any of it. I was actually trying to test out something that I've been wanting to do, but it just didn't really quite work out today. So I've been wanting to try and hold it a little bit longer, to possibly hold it until it breaks and holds above the 9 EMA. And it didn't really quite work out today. So I should have taken my profits. I was up 3 times my risk. That's completely my fault, and actually ended up being down on CF probably for, I don't know, like an hour or so, and then I took another trade on it. But let me walk you guys through this opening range breakdown, basically. So I saw it come down. It pulled back up. I bought it, or I shorted it right here at 40.64, right here at 9.33. So 9.30, 31, 32, 33. Right here in this candle as it was headed down. So I shorted it right here and put my stop right here. So then what I ended up doing is I actually ended up adding more at 40.49 as it was breaking down to 50, and then I brought my stop down. So my average stop was somewhere around here, 40.67 or so. So then it kept breaking down, down, down. I was up $300, but as you can see on here, held it a little too long. This candle kind of, it was like a uh-oh moment, but then it started coming up. So as you can see, I held it all the way till 10:07. So I held it for quite a while. As you can see, I set my stop right here at the 40.60 mark because it tested this level multiple times. So right here at 40.60, this candle is when I was up $300. This candle actually brought it all the way back on a little bit more volume. This was a low volume stock. This is not something that got called out in the room. It's just something that I thought of on my own for a continuation play. Nobody had mentioned it, so there's obviously not a lot of eyes on it. This was trading, what is this? This is probably maybe 200,000 shares during just this candle alone, so it's really small volume for something opening up. But either way, I set my stop right here at the 40.60 mark. It kicked me out, and instead of getting mad at it and just reshorting it and setting my stop here, which sometimes it's something that I would do, but I don't, that would be just a straight revenge trade. I try to be a little bit more disciplined and, trade according to the plan. So on that trade, I was down about, it wasn't down much. I was down like $60, $70 or so. But it was definitely disappointing as you saw this next candle just kind of rip down, and then now it's almost to, 30. It went all the way down to 39.60. So could you imagine how much money I would have been up if I would have held the 1,000 shares down here? So a couple $100 for sure. So that is the first trade I took. The second trade I took was on ASML. This is actually one of the long candidates here. I took it right at 10:03, so I was probably on the 5-minute chart. Right around here. Let's see here, 10:03, so probably somewhere around here. Yep. Took it right as it was breaking over, let's see here, the 197.50 mark. Because as you can see, it ripped up, it pulled back, it got rejected and bought up. So it pulled back, and I wanted to get into it right as it was going back over the 197.50 for a break of the highs, basically. I was just waiting for it to break over 198. And I added 100 shares, then I added another 100 shares, and I ended up actually selling for a loss here. So 196, let's see here, 197.15. So I added here, I added here. It looks like it did break through the 198, but it didn't really quite hold. So as you can see, it just got rejected really hard on here. And I ended up selling it right at 1024, so somewhere around here. So yeah, my stop was right here, I believe. Yeah, so it was right here, 197.18. I got filled, and as you can see, it didn't really quite hold. So after it got rejected, I basically just set my stop right there. It came back up, so I was like, okay, good, it'll hold. But next candle actually didn't hold. So I got kicked out right there. I was thinking maybe VWAP, but I wasn't willing to risk it that much. You can always get back into it and take a small loss and get back into it and make double the amount of money. So it's not really worth holding it for me. After I've set out a stop, I typically don't really hold, especially on something like this. So if you look here, the 198 mark. So if you're looking at it like this, it obviously ripped up with a lot of volume. It pulled back. It tried to sell off, but it got rejected and it got bought up. That means that there's a lot of buyers behind this. So when it pulled back, I wanted to buy it over basically the high of this candle and the half number, so 197.50. And I was waiting for it to break over the highs. Typically, if this breaks over the highs with a lot of volume, it's something that's going to keep going. So, but as you can tell on here, it went up, broke the 198 mark, but it just got rejected very, very hard. So there's either probably people taking a lot of profits, or it's just it doesn't want to support this level, the 198. So as you can tell, when it sold off and it got bought up, I moved my stop up, basically, because I had already added. So if you add, you need to move your stop up. So I put it right here, right at the 197.15 mark right here. I was thinking it was going to hold the 9 right here. It ended up not holding, and flush down got me out, and ASML. So usually I risk about $100. So as you can tell on here, I had it right. It was $94 is what I lost. Now, arch nemesis of Juno. I thought Juno was just going to be a ripper today. Boy, was I wrong. Look at it. It gapped up from 45 all the way up to 73. Started selling off a little bit here, but I thought it was just going to keep going higher. Now, this is something I should have paid attention to. I wanted to get in at $67 and then probably have a stop here at 66 or 65.50. But it's just I don't like to long stocks under the 9 and under VWAP. So the 9 being here and VWAP being here. So I typically don't like to do that because they act as resistance. But in this instance, I would have been right. Could have taken some sort of profits, perhaps. But this type of trade has a lower chance of working out for me. So I typically don't take them. So what I ended up doing is I waited for Juno to actually pull back and have the 9 and VWAP as support instead of resistance. So I went long when the 9 and VWAP are actually under it to support it. So I saw it sold off here right to the 9. As it was coming back up, I bought it over the whole number right at 69. I added another 50 right at 69.63, thinking that it was going to break over 70. Now, in that, as you can tell, it tapped, and it just did not break 70. I actually ended up adding another 50, so I was long Juno, 200 shares with a pretty steep stop. So I was right here at 67.50. I actually ended up having to get out at 68.22. So on that one, I believe I lost somewhere around $220 or $30 or something like that. I really had high hopes for this thing, but it did not work out. But now, something like this, if you think about it, it's running out of gas. So there's news behind Juno, But the thing is that it gapped up almost 50%. So if you're running a marathon or if you run a sprint really, really fast in after hours and pre-market, you're going to need some time to consolidate and then perhaps head higher. So it didn't have any steam left to break over this $70 mark right here. So that's why I got rejected really hard. Now it's sitting down here under VWAP and under the 9. So it's probably going to consolidate for a little bit, try to digest some of those news, and then perhaps head higher. This is something definitely to watch if it breaks over 70 for tomorrow. So I ended up taking a big loss there on Juno. Now the next trade. The next trade I took was actually on Facebook. This actually gave me a little bit of hope there. So I was down. It was down about $300 and something, and I told myself I was going to take one more trade, but it has to be perfect. So Facebook was actually, it has gotten news, I believe, last week. So it's basically just been heading lower and lower and lower. So it gapped down huge. It tried to come up. It failed right at the 50. It had a red day, another red day. And as you can see, it's just been heading down lower ever since. So one of my go-to patterns is called a VWAP rejection. So VWAP rejection requires the stock to go down, it pulled back up to VWAP, and in the 9, I believe the 9 was somewhere around here, the 177 mark. And I need the stock to go under the 9, under VWAP, and for the next candle to make a new low would be my entry. So as you can see here, let's see, the low of this candle is 176.98. I actually ended up getting it a little bit later at 176.80, and I shorted 250 shares with a stop right here over the highs of 177.25, and so I was risking about $100, and I actually ended up getting all the way down to 176.15. So I almost got 2 to 1. I got 1.7, as you can see here, risk to reward. I ended up covering right at 176.15 and the last 50 at 176.16, since the whole number was actually starting to hold here. And I was thinking it was going to head a little bit higher because you have the low of the day and then you have a whole number. So it came back up, as you can tell. It might break down to 76 or 176 now, but I wasn't willing to risk it since I was already down and I was already up almost 2 to 1 risk to reward. So that brought me down a little bit, kind of took some of those losses away. So now this ACLS is something that I scanned for, and just exactly as the Facebook trade, it's basically a VWAP rejection. So I'm waiting for it to pull back up. It didn't want to hold this level, the 28.50. Hold on, let me actually show you guys something. So this 28.50 level, as you can see on here, let me draw this line out for you guys. So right around here. So right around here, the 28.50 mark, as you can see on the daily, it's held multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It's held 4 times. So once something support breaks, it becomes resistance. So I saw that on here, and I put the line out, and I said, okay, well, if it breaks down below 9 and the VWAP, I'm going to short it. So I ended up doing that, and I shorted it right at 28. So 300 shares short. And the way that I got kicked out is kind of sneaky. So I actually ended up not watching it. I was doing something else on the computer, and I put my stop, let's see here, at 28.15. So as you can tell, this never actually hit 28.15. It was never up here. I put my stop right above the VWAP because a lot of the times it'll come up and get rejected. So this is something that market makers do sometimes. They'll flash an order for a spot. If they see a lot of shorts that are sitting there with hard stops, this is why you don't use hard stops. But unfortunately, I wasn't watching it, and I needed to use one at the time. So what market makers will do to be able to snatch up your shares is they'll flash an order at a certain price where there's a lot of shorts sitting, and they will just take out all the orders and then just start heading back lower. So then now they'll be able to take out all the shorts. They flashed an order up here for 28.15, took out a bunch of people, but it was so fast that it didn't even really register on the chart. So as you can see, this is very fishy actually. This is kind of the dark side of the trading. Sometimes there's some very sneaky stuff that goes on. So as you can tell, I got kicked out at 28.15. I didn't push the button, but this was at 11.43. So let's see here. I went short right here, and I got kicked out at 12.02. So right here within this candle. This thing never went up to 12.15. It never came up here. So this is literally just the market makers robbing me of $45. That is what happened. But as you can see now, it's down to 27.85. So they literally grabbed my orders and then started flushing down. So this is one of the reasons why you don't want to use hard stops if you don't have to. I literally just lost those $45 because I had a hard stop. And that leaves me on the day $219, probably a little bit more with commissions. I had a really good day yesterday, and this is actually only half of what I made yesterday. So I'm still green for the week. And just to explain to you guys, this is how you become profitable. Is your days that are profitable have to be bigger than your losses. So even if I have a hit percentage of 50-50, you're still making money on top of what you're losing. So you don't have to be right all the time. You can make money being right only 50% of the times. Well, I hope that helps you guys. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave it down in the comment section. I know I kind of covered a lot of stuff today, and I'm sure you guys will probably have some questions, especially with the sneaky brokers and them taking your shares. But anyways, also make sure to join our Facebook group. The link will actually be down below. Our group has actually been growing really fast lately, and I answer a lot of the questions. I'll leave my watch list there every single morning for you guys to benefit off of completely for free. Wow, this is actually, I was gonna say ACLS. This is so disappointing. I thought that was actually that was Juno, but I thought that was ACLS. It's probably gonna break down, and it's gonna make me mad by the end of the day because I would have been right and I got robbed by this broker. But unfortunately that's how it goes. But oh well. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.